dedicated to all spiritual activists, true seekers, and peaceful warriors worldwide.
I regard myself as a soldier, though a soldier of peace.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Radiant Spirit, a podcast about self-love and living your most authentic life. Behind me, that was just a little taste of the intro to Be the Change by MC Yogi off of the Elephant Power album. We're hopefully remembering to play the rest of that track for us at the end of this episode 8. And again, I have my partner, Mad Busse, my partner in shenanigans, joining me here today. So we can talk a little bit about how your vibe finds your tribe. And if I didn't say so, I'm Jennifer Gibbons. Maybe I already said that, not sure. But yeah, your vibe finds your tribe. I'm sure that's a phrase that a lot of people have probably heard, but what does that even mean? And that's really what the topic we wanted to approach and talk about today. I know for myself, since I would say in just the last few years or so, I have noticed that I've been able to, particularly in meditation, I've been able to see different colors and frequencies and how they overlap and lay. And a lot of times for myself, it's just, I believe it's my guides showing me what is going on with the dynamics of different relationships, what's happening, why are we harmonizing, are our vibrations harmonizing, or are they clashing? And that's how I've been able to really tune in and understand how to lean into my more authentic vibration and feel it, like what feels good for me, and why, and really tuning in and understanding when something isn't, if something's clashing, like why, what, and instead of forcing myself to lean into those situations where it is clashing, learning to go, okay, maybe this vibration isn't on my frequency. So yeah, I don't know what you want to bring up there.
Maybe we should back up and talk a little bit and kind of define vibration and frequency and talk about that a little bit more. And yeah, so I mean, again, this is a popular topic these days in spiritual circles, about your vibration, your frequency. And in particular, you hear a lot of stuff and see a lot of memes about raising your vibration, raising your frequency. And so I think it's something that's talked a lot about, but rarely ever defined. And,
yeah.
And so I think.
And I just, not to cut you off, but something kind of like what we were talking about a little bit this morning. I think sometimes in the spiritual community, that like raise your vibration, it can almost be used, not almost, it can be used in a way of judging others, as in like, I'm vibing higher than you. But like we were talking about this morning, it's not necessarily higher, lower. We're all over the scale, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
We're not just different vibrations.
Yeah, like how boring would the world be if you only had one radio station to listen to? Right. That's it, one genre. That's it.
Yeah, so when we're talking about vibration and frequency, you can think of it as the radio frequency that your soul is giving off, or that your energetic body is broadcasting out into the world, because we're all little radio transmitters broadcasting our particular unique vibration out into the universe.
Yeah.
And we have some measure of control over what vibration and frequency we're sending out, and that's partly determined by the thoughts that are and the emotions that are running through our minds and bodies all the time.
True. Yeah. And our whatever frequency we are emitting is subject to change. It's not like I think of it as radio stations. You know, we're all tuned into a different radio station. When you find people tuning into your same station, it's like, oh, these are my people. Okay, great. And that's like, yeah, that's my tribe. But sometimes you think you found that tribe and your frequency starts to shift and adjust. And it's like, you know, that's perfectly normal and natural. We're all changing constantly. So,
and even throughout, like you're saying, within a single day, you can vibrate at different frequencies. You can, I mean, depending on your mood, you can start off in one frequency, go to another one, go back to a different one. So it's not a set thing by any means.
Absolutely not.
And
Yeah.
and we're also in the same way that we're all radio transmitters, we're also all receivers. So our frequency, our vibration is highly impacted by the vibration and frequency of those around us,
Oh yeah.
from
Absolutely.
individuals and also from the collective vibration of the area we in, and also the collective vibration of the country, the world. It's all of those things affect us.
Yeah, yeah, like on the larger scale. Also, just people in your circle, like your friend circle. If something's going on, um, happening in your friend circle, you might not even be a part of that, but you're going to feel it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The people that you're connected to emotionally or even mentally, I mean, the people you spend that you have these connections to, their vibration is going to affect you, even if you're not in the same room with them. But if someone if you have a strong connection with friends or family members, their mood, their vibration is going to affect you. And so that's just another thing to be aware of.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I like that we are I like that we're talking about this, but also I want to highlight and celebrate the beauty in being your unique self and how important that is for the collective to lean into being your most true and authentic self. We have this, I know this is something I've struggled with a lot. I can't be the only one, but
Yeah.
when you feel like the vibe is off in a certain group of people, and then you start to really internalize that and be like, oh, something's wrong with me. Something is
Mhm.
terribly wrong with me because I do not think like these people. Well, maybe those just aren't your people, and that's
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, and it's not right, it's not wrong, they're not wrong, you're not wrong. No one's wrong or right. It's just different.
Yeah, we're just tuned into different stations,
Yeah.
and that's okay. And on that, I think um, this topic was coming up for me as far as like the holidays. It's a big thing where you're spending extended time with family members. I feel like, at least for the people that I know in my life, it's a rare thing to be vibing on the same frequency as your family.
Your birth family.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, not your friend family. That's
Mhm.
more common to be. Yeah, you choose those people in your life.
Right.
But it does seem like when we are spending more time with family, I know for myself, I'll only speak for myself here, I do feel like I have to be very aware. I tend to approach the situation a little bit more guarded and very aware that I'm going to be tuned into a different frequency for that period of time. And that's okay. That's totally okay. It's like, oh, you know what? This isn't really my genre of music, but I'm going to listen to it for today. There's nothing wrong with it. That's great.
Mhm.
But extended time there starts to feel incredibly uncomfortable in your being, and it's almost like the way I see it when I'm like when I tune in meditation, I'm shown colors of waves, just the frequency, and that's how my guides help me to see and explain why I'm feeling certain ways in different groups of company. So um yeah, like you're tuned into this frequency for a while and it's going to start to feel really uncomfortable. So it stands to reason to give yourself some breaks and tune into that frequency that is more comfortable to you. So for what that looks like is stepping away and doing some breathing exercises for myself and just remembering to bring it back to what feels good right here and tune out everything around me. Almost like putting myself in a bubble.
Mhm.
That's one of the tricks that I use.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So yeah, when we find ourselves in a situation that has a vibration that isn't the same as ours, that we're not resonating with, that feels uncomfortable or unnatural, like you're saying, we can use some tricks to create our own little bubble and trying to maintain our own vibration, a different vibration, while we're still surrounded by this other environment.
Mhm. Yeah, and still shine through as your best self.
Mhm.
Um, because yeah, I'm trying to explain what I'm seeing with the vibrations
Yeah, well, yeah.
overlapping.
And it makes a lot of sense for you to see different vibrations of different colors because colors themselves, the colors of the rainbow, they're all different vibrations of the electromagnetic spectrum. And so it's the same thing. And the same thing with how, I mean, red and blue are two different vibrations. It'd be ridiculous to think red is better than blue. I mean, we can have favorites, but I mean, clearly one color is not better than another color. It's just a different vibration, a different frequency. And so
Ah,
the different vibrations and frequencies of people, they're not better, they're not higher and lower, they're just different.
exactly. Yeah. But the importance of being true to yourself and being genuine to your heart and finding those people that you are harmonizing with, that you are vibing with, and on the collective, how that helps the symphony that is the world harmonize better. It when you're forcing yourself to say, I don't know, say you have a group of friends and they all like to go bowling one day a week, and you hate bowling, but you like put up with it. Um, why? Why do you put up with, like, would you, are you putting yourself in situations um, out of fear of losing those friends or losing that circle of people? Fear of maybe just being your natural self, vibrating at your natural frequency and saying, hey, this just isn't my jam. Maybe what you're doing is opening space for that day of week to find people that you are doing things, you're really finding joy in the same things. um yeah, yeah, making room for that instead of forcing yourself
Right.
and
Because
pretending.
yeah, I mean, so the vibration and the culture that we were born into, our generation is born into, we're both in our mid 40s. But very much the culture and the vibration that we grew up in was dominated by capitalism and competition
Still is.
and yeah, and separation and division and and also this cultural belief and understanding that everyone should have the same vibration, and that if people that are vibrating differently from the dominant collective vibration are wrong and outsiders and should be feared or mocked or attacked. And so that's kind of what we're the world is dealing with now, moving out of that dominant single vibration and learning to embrace the unique vibration that all of us can bring to the universe, or bring to the world.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of different examples. And again, this episode, thank you for joining me last minute. I'm like, we're doing this on the fly. Let's do it. Day that it's supposed to stream. This is just happening. I know I shared about, for myself, breathing exercises, and I know doing like a breath of fire or just box breathing, which would be like counting, breathing in for a count of four, holding for a count of four, exhale for a count of four, and then hold. Just bringing it to your breath. If you have a favorite breathing exercise, bringing it to your breath and taking your focus off everything going on around you and just focusing on yourself and what's going on within your body is a great way for me personally to feel like centered and
Yeah.
more in my body. Uh, and I know so I've spoke about breathing exercises. I know that there are lots of other tricks out there for staying sovereign
Yeah.
in yourself.
Mantras are another great trick.
Yes.
Yeah. I know when I in my meditation group, I often would use the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum, which is a very common, very widespread mantra. But these days, recently, my new favorite mantra is just I love you. Just telling myself I love you, and to try to bring that vibration of love into my heart, into my mind, into my body, no matter what environment I'm in. So yeah, these days, whenever I'm in some kind of challenging environment, whether that's stuck in traffic, stuck in a crowded store. Like yesterday, I was at Costco and it was bananas. People are running around, and everyone's frustrated and ramming their carts into each other. I'm just walking along, saying to myself, "I love you, I love you, I love you," as I'm shopping and stuff. And so, yeah, that's a way we can uh, choose to try to maintain our vibration uh, in a at a level that's different from our surroundings.
Absolutely. I love that is your go-to mantra right now. And it kind of brings up again, this generation we were raised in where loving yourself was deemed selfish.
Yeah.
Self-love was considered selfish. How dare you take time for yourself? Like, I did not grow up with that as a value. And learning now that it is probably the most important value is to love yourself, take care of yourself, nurture yourself first and foremost. Yeah, I was raised that you put your nose to the grindstone and work until you're bleeding, and then maybe you earned a nap and a shower.
After you're retired.
When you retire,
then you're allowed to relax.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Assuming your body still works.
Right.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. So I love that. That's what, and I kind of already knew that, but I love hearing that reiterated, that yes, I love you. I love you. My favorite, and it tends to be in moments of frustration, I chant the Ganesha because I want to feel, and I love that I picked a track from the Elephant Power album today, but that is what I visualize is elephant power move through this, whether it be in traffic where I'm like, Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha, get me through this traffic, or whatever it might be. But when I get frustrated, it very much comes out as outbursts, and it's very colorful. But yeah, that elephant power makes me feel powerful. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I love it a lot.
Yeah, grounded.
Yeah, but strong. Like, I can overcome this.
Like an elephant.
Yeah.
Barreling through. Yeah.
Absolutely. Nothing can stop me.
Yeah, and another trick, another gem or jewel in the jewelry box is
I love it.
some kind of visualization technique. Imagining, I think you might have touched on this, imagining some kind of protective bubble or protective shell around yourself. And then you can do that in conjunction with breathing or in conjunction with a mantra. So just imagining some kind of barrier containing your own vibration within you, and kind of dampening or muting the vibration around you, so that to help in that process of creating your own vibration, and to help ourselves vibrate at a frequency we're choosing, rather than being forced to resonate with the vibration that's around us if it's something that we don't find resonant or don't find comfortable.
Right. And with time and practice, I mean, maybe that's something you can do right away, but I feel like for myself, it took some time and practice to be able to visualize that shield, that bubble, and be able to truly be sovereign in that field, as far as recognizing, oh, these feelings and these emotions belong to me. Oh, those other things I'm feeling do not belong to me. And it took me a while to realize that a lot of the things affecting me were not from me. They were things surrounding me that I was allowing into my field. So it takes time. It takes practice.
Yeah. And I heard somewhere that 90% of our thoughts are not our own. 90% of the thoughts we're thinking in any given moment we pick up from the world around us, from the people around us, from the environment around us.
That absolutely checks out.
Yeah, we're all far more psychic than we're aware of.
Yeah, I think that psychic ability, and I know that I have had conversations with my dad, of all people, that as far as like where humanity is evolving, and I genuinely believe that this psychic ability, like I know for myself, has really been getting fine-tuned these last few years, and I still have a very long way to go. But understanding that, oh, hey, I have this ability. I know that all human beings have this ability. It's just a matter of realizing it and acknowledging it. Yes, remembering.
Allowing this natural latent ability to come through, because we were taught to suppress it. Taught that that's not real. Taught that it's
well, how else are you going to control humanity?
Exactly.
Take away their power. We are coming back into our power, and I know that all of human beings have the ability to tune in to the psychic messages that we're constantly getting. It's pretty exciting. And in fact, as far as like this vibration and people being able to um like understand the vibration of truth on a level that we haven't been able to do.
Yeah.
Human beings have not been able to do. We live in a society where like fake news, lies and bullshit, just it's kind of just the way people are speaking. It's like it's our language now is just
Yeah.
bullshit. But that's something that I've really been noticing these last couple of years, especially when someone is not being 100% honest. I might not be able to say, "Oh, hey, that's a lie" or whatever, but I can feel it in my body that this isn't right. This isn't true. And I feel those words being said just like wash off me, like they just roll off of me. Like I can't even hear what you're saying because it's not true. So I feel like in those conversations, if you were to ask me 10 minutes later what we just talked about, I probably would just shrug because I didn't absorb any of it. But I kind of recognize that as being part of the human evolution. And it's a part of understanding what is authentic, what is your authenticity ringing like. And so, if it's not, right away, oh no, that's not, that's not checking out.
Right. As more and more of us are undoing the conditioning that taught us to disconnect from our feelings, disconnect from our intuition, disconnect from our authentic selves, more and more of us are reconnecting with ourselves, reconnecting with our feelings, reconnecting with our heart. And when we're connected with our feelings and our heart center, when we're connected with our heart center, it's much easier to, like you say, feel the vibration of behind the words of other people. And it's much easier to feel when people are speaking from a place of truth or speaking from their hearts versus speaking from their minds or speaking for something that they think they should be saying rather than speaking their authentic messages. Yeah.
That's a lot of what it is. I think a lot of people have learned to communicate that way, where they're trying to read a room. Okay, what does this group of people want from me? Is it genuine? No, you're just like putting on a show. And I think that facade of everybody just like putting on these shows, that is fizzling out. It's not landing like it used to. People used to be able to.
In some circles.
In some circles, yeah. Not in all circles, certainly in ours, thank goodness. But that the way that people just I guess just putting on a show for the people in the room around you, but none of it being genuine.
I mean, in the dominant culture, we're conditioned to live in our minds primarily and respond with our thoughts and respond analytically and analyze the situation and try to come up with the appropriate mental response rather than the natural response from our heart.
Right. And for some reason, this is coming up for me, just a reminder of one of the 4 agreements to not take things personally. Also, not making assumptions. I've been noticing just in my communications in my personal life over this last week, what has been coming up is it's not necessarily that things are being said or put out there that are false. They're not. That's not the case. But they coming from a place that's heart-centered? Not necessarily. Coming from a place of a wound. So when someone is speaking from a place that like, oh, I have been hurt here, and I am reacting to something that happened years ago, not to this conversation. That's been coming up for me this week, and it's
reacting from a mental pattern that was learned, a coping mechanism learned in response to a wound. So it's coming from the mind, from the wounded mind instead of from the authentic heart.
Right, and that hits different too. You can feel it. You can feel it. But I have to think about it, and I think we were talking about this earlier today too. 10 years ago, I know that I would have felt these things, but I don't think I would have been able to put a finger on it, or even noticed that I was feeling these things and reacting based on what's happening around me, but I'm sure that I was, but just
Yeah.
oblivious to it. So learning how to really sit and feel, just like feel how things are hitting you. I feel like that gets fine-tuned with meditation. I feel like that was probably the biggest tool for me in learning how to tune into that. I know you are pretty experienced in the meditation department. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Definitely, yeah. The any kind of practices that slow down the mind and or help us to examine the mind and notice the mental processes, the mental patterns that are playing out over and over again. As we become more aware of that and more aware of the frequency generated by those rampant mental patterns, then it becomes much more easier to notice that, become aware of it. And once we become aware of it, then we can start to try to change it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, meditation, also therapy.
Yeah.
Therapy. When you, and I feel like there's been times in my life when I have done therapy, but it was not by choice. Those times didn't work when I was forced to participate in therapy. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to look at myself honestly. Uh, you have to be at a point where you're ready to really self-examine.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you might just be
Mhm.
throwing your money away.
And you have to want to.
Yeah.
You have to genuinely want to. You have to have a genuine desire to change your behavior.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, those things helped. I think those things were very crucial in my shift of being able to understand, feel the vibrations, and start to understand and learn how to tune in to my heart space and follow that, even when it's uncomfortable or it makes for what could be an awkward conversation or something like that. Although I feel like in my experience, there's been times when I have prepared in my mind, like, oh gosh, this isn't gelling with me anymore. I'm not really liking this. And then I hypothetically go through what this conversation would look like to like approach that situation. But I find that if I just meditate, pray on it, set my intentions with my heart, those things never come up. It's just like, oh, the universe just magically fizzles those relationships out of my life and I don't even have to have the weird or awkward conversation. It's
Mhm.
just a matter of acknowledging and going, oh, hey, I see why I'm learning a lesson from this relationship, but I'm just spinning wheels until I learn this lesson. It's not really where my vibration is hitting. Um, but yeah, so and as someone who has a lot of church wounds, prayer, the power of prayer,
Mhm.
freaking epic.
Yeah.
I swear by that. I mean, yeah, and I think
Yeah, I guess along with meditation, I mean, prayer essentially could be thought of as a different kind of meditation.
yeah,
I mean, genuine prayer,
yeah,
or yeah,
just an intentional talk with
the
the
universe
universe,
or God,
God, goddess,
if that's
spirit,
how you envision it.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, but genuine. I
yeah.
feel like when I was there's been times in my life where I have genuinely been praying, but it was like, please, please, please help me out of this shitty situation I got myself
Mhm.
into. Never um, just coming from a place back then, it was never really just coming from an open hearted space of, okay, here I am. I'm willing to just go with the flow. Let's see what unfolds, but genuinely trying to protect my heart, not from a place of begging, please, 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 or bargaining of if you'll just help me this one time, I'll do whatever.
Right.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, it's not a reward and punishment
No.
situation. I mean, that idea is one of the things that's ingrained in us, particularly from organized religions. It's the idea that the universe or God is operates in some kind of quid pro quo
Mhm.
system where if you do these things, you'll be rewarded with this. If you don't do these things, you'll be punished with this. So yeah, that's not how the universe doesn't work, by rewards and punishments.
No, no, we are spiritual beings here to have a human experience for the purpose of learning lessons. So these patterns are going to, in your life, that are causing turmoil or frustration, maybe look at the pattern that's been repeated and ask or find out, what is the lesson that I need to take from this in order to move on? Because until those lessons are learned, they're going to continue getting harder and harder. Spoken as the queen of the hard lesson.
Oh yeah.
I like to go hardcore with my lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, especially if there's a particular lesson that we don't want to learn for whatever reason, or that we're struggling with, or we have a deep wound around.
Right.
Oh yeah, the universe will keep banging our head against that.
Yeah.
Or the universe will keep presenting us with a wall that we can bang our head against until we learn the lesson and choose to do something different.
That's a great way of putting it. And it just makes me think, again, reflecting on my 20s. Oh my God, the lessons I chose to learn the hard way. Yeah, thank goodness I'm writing a book about it. Yeah. Yeah. So the frequencies, feeling into what's authentic for you, and what does that look like for you? I know there's been times for myself, I'm just trying to think of different examples where I have been in a position where, yes, I am with my people, this is all great, but then you get to a point where you learn, you grow, you shift, you change, and all of a sudden it doesn't hit the same way in your heart like it used to.
Yeah.
That certainly happened with me. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's natural. It's part of the growth process that we're always going to be kind of changing frequencies. And well, I guess so. We talked before about how our frequency shifts throughout the day, but there is kind of our baseline frequency, like the default that we go back to over and over again, and that can change over time.
Mhm.
Where our default or baseline frequency is. So even though within any given day or week or month, our frequency can vibrate all over the place, but there is kind of a baseline,
a homeostasis where you
right,
find yourself. Yeah.
yeah, or a homeostatic range that you find
Yeah.
yourself in, and with prolonged reconditioning, laying down new neural pathways over time, we can, over time, with repeated effort, shift that baseline frequency.
Yeah. And it does take time, and
Yeah.
and it does take a lot of work. And I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, I'm sure you know people in your life that say, well, you got to do the work. And spirit work is no freaking joke.
Yeah, it takes daily effort,
It takes daily effort,
constant vigilance.
And when you start doing the work, you best believe you're going to be tested.
Oh yeah.
You will be tested. And some days are easy. A lot of days are not. But it does get easier and easier. And when you mention that, I think of like what a day in the life for me would have been like 5 years ago versus what it looks like today. Wow. Huge shift. And I'm saying that out loud to remind myself of the hard work that I've done and the work that I've put in and will continue to do and continue to grow on those days like today and yesterday when I was not feeling so awesome, feeling super frustrated. In fact, I was having a hard time recording this episode, feeling like, God, my frequency is just off. I'm struggling to find that little happy place. But you know what? Not every day is going to be awesome. And that's okay. But it took a lot of work to get to a point where I can recognize it and say, oh, hey, my frequency is pinging in a place that I'm not comfortable with today.
Yeah, and particularly this time of year is especially challenging. The global frequency is very, very gnarly during the holidays. That's something I've noticed for a while now, that
Same.
around the holidays, and part of it is that as we're coming towards the winter solstice, we're coming into winter, the world wants to slow down and rest. And I mean, the winter time is the time of darkness, that the world, the natural rhythm of life wants us to slow down and be more internal during this time of year. But our culture does not permit that. Our culture requires us to keep going, foot the pedal to the metal all year round. And so,
And actually worse this time of year. Like
yeah,
when you come, we're coming up on the end of the company's fiscal year.
right,
Every business is trying to sell because you
yeah.
need to buy for every single person you've ever met. I know that's an exaggeration, but the capitalistic
Oh yeah, no, every job I had,
buy.
yeah, there's a scramble at the end of the year. There's all kinds of things that need to be tied up. And then also the presents for the holidays and parties and decorations and all that stuff. So there's,
Recitals and
yeah, there's all this more activity required of us in a time where naturally we want to do less activity, and everyone feels that. Everyone gets stressed out. And so, yeah, this time of year is particularly challenging.
Yeah, yeah, that is something I noticed when there was 4 years I was able to spend the holidays out of this country, mostly in Thailand and just throughout all of Southeast Asia. Um, I did not feel that.
Mm,
I didn't feel
yeah.
like people were going to try and run me over in a parking lot if I wasn't like fast enough. Yeah, and I felt like there was a lot more. There was a lot more focus on family and winding down and just spending quiet time with family. It wasn't so much of um, the consumeristic buy, and you got to make sure you buy the right
Yeah.
thing for every single person in
And
your life.
yeah.
Yeah, and make sure you got to work overtime so you can buy all these presents.
Right.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then the financial stress of all this.
Oh yeah, all of it just kind of snowballed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an eye-opening to relief to recognize that the rest of the world doesn't necessarily operate on the same beat we do here. That gives me hope.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I don't really
Well,
vibe
and
with that frequency.
yeah, like you say,
It's-
you don't really notice it till you spend time in a different culture
right.
and see how fucked up our culture is. 'Cause you don't, if that's all you know, you don't have anything. And not just visiting, but like spending time, months living in a different culture. That's when it takes time, not just a trip, not just a vacation, to feel the difference of a different culture. Like you had the time in Thailand, I had the time in Costa Rica, and having that experience really helps us to realize how challenging our culture can be.
Yeah, definitely. Now, when I was meaning to ask, when you were in Costa Rica, did you get to spend any holidays there, or did you go
No,
to Wisconsin?
yeah, no, I wasn't there over the holidays.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
not, but just generally speaking of
Yeah.
the different culture there, the much less focus on work, make money, make money, make money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that is where I mean, I don't know what to say about the collective, but I know for you and I, there has been a strong focus of knowing that by just being our authentic and natural selves, we will have everything we need. And there is no need to put our nose to the grindstone and work ourselves to death anymore.
Yeah.
It's not necessary.
And even for trying to help this evolution of humanity, as the intro song said, be the change that you want to see. When I mean, looking at the world, looking at all the challenges we're facing, the global climate catastrophe, the widening division between the haves and have-nots, it can be really depressing. Really, it can. I know. You've seen me. It's caught in those depths of despondency and hopelessness about the world. But one of the most potent things we can do individually to change that is to change our own vibration and choose to vibrate with love, choose to vibrate with oneness, with acceptance, and radiate that out in the world. Because the more of us individually who choose to vibrate differently, that starts to affect the collective. We all affect the collective.
Right.
And so I know I've struggled with this, feeling some need to help the world, to like go out to be like maybe be an activist or do something to make a visible effect on the world. But and some people, that is their role,
Mhm.
and that is, but not everyone. So for a lot of us, and some of us don't have, if we have families, jobs, or if we're stuck for whatever reason in a particular life path, not all of us can be activists, not all of us can be on the front lines producing visible change in the world. But what we can do is be the change that we want to see.
Absolutely.
And we can, and it is an act of rebellion and an act of activism to choose to vibrate at love within our own lives and shine that love to the people around us in all of our everyday actions. And that is a way each of us can help the evolution of humanity.
Absolutely. And I love that you say bringing it to love. And on that, I just want to kind of expand. Um, Sometimes the things going on in the world, when you think, well, I'm just going to approach everything with love, and you look at the world and you go, that's not happening. I think immediately, when you do not know how to love the situation going on outside of anything you can control, bring it to yourself.
Mhm.
Love yourself. So whatever that looks like, if it just looks like, you know what, I'm going to take a chill day, I'm going to wrap up in a snuggy blanket, give myself a foot bath, and watch a movie. We have this society that tells us that you should be ashamed for that, you're not being productive.
Mhm.
But any bit of love and care you are showing yourself, you are absolutely being productive, and you are making a difference for the collective, because that nurturing you give yourself is reflecting out, and it might just be reflecting out to your household, but there is a ripple effect. So you're affecting your children, you're affecting your spouse, they're taking that out into the world, and it might not look like it, but wrapped up in a snuggie watching your favorite movie is absolutely making the world a better place. 100%.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're, when we're stuck in a place of hopelessness, when we look out in the world and just seems, oh my God, what could we possibly do to help? It's okay to be a little bit of an ostrich and stick your head in the sand and just love yourself. That's why, like I was saying earlier, my mantra, right, my personal mantra right now is just I love you. So when I'm feeling overwhelmed by the situation or by the world at large, that's why I just focus internally and just love myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. And the world needs more of it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're on my team,
Mhm.
or I'm on your team, or
Yeah.
whatever. We're on the same team.
Oh, right. Team love.
Team love for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
dig it.
So there was that MC Yogi's song "Be the Change." Recently, I've heard the song has come up a lot. The Michael Jackson song, "The Man in the Mirror."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Same message.
if you want to make the world a better place, just look at yourself and make a change. And
Yep.
changing our vibration is a great way to make the world a better place.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, while it's like working on yourself and all of this is going to be consistent throughout your lifetime. Like, that's what we're here to do as spiritual beings. We're here to learn and to grow and to change and evolve. That's what we're doing. So wherever you are at right now in this moment is fucking perfect. It is absolutely perfect. It's
Yeah.
exactly where you need to be. But if you're wanting to lean into living with your heart and being as authentic as you possibly can, and I highly encourage you just to once a day at least think about and make an honest effort to do one thing that brings you joy.
Mhm.
Like, what makes you so freaking happy? Try to find a minute to do it.
Yeah.
Or 5 minutes or 20 minutes, an hour if you can.
Yeah. Well, and if you're in a place where the thought of joy is, you're so far away from joy that just seems ridiculous, then find something that brings you peace and
Yes.
a rest. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And if you don't know where to begin at all, try taking a few minutes just to stop and breathe and see what comes up.
Yeah. Listen to your heart, listen to your body, see what your body wants you to do. It's trying to tell us all the time.
Mhm.
And taking a minute to stop, to breathe, can help break the mental chatter, break the mental cycles, and allow the body to speak, allow the heart to be heard.
Yeah. And those things take time and
Yeah.
patience.
Mhm.
It takes time. So, um,
Yeah. And with all this talk about trying to change your vibration, raise your vibration, if you're feeling stuck, that's fine too. Like, it's very easy for us, for a lot of us, we can use this as another weapon to hurt ourselves, or another thing to make ourselves feel bad, like, oh, I'm stuck in this mindset, so I'm a piece of shit, and I just suck, and I'm not worthy. And so just be mindful of that also, if you're feeling stuck. But if you see that you're stuck in a bad and a low or an unpleasant vibration, and you know you're stuck in it, if the fact that you're noticing that and seeing that, that's something to celebrate.
yeah.
Because just noticing that, the more you notice that, gives you the opportunity to start to change it. But the first several times you notice it, it's really hard to change it. And that can make you feel worse, because you realize
Mhm.
that you're stuck in this place and you can't do anything about it. And so that's, yeah, just, we need to be careful of that trap of
Right.
making making ourselves feel bad about not being able to change our vibration.
Right. It's so funny that you're talking about like being stuck in this pattern. And I am immediately taken to the night sitting in jail in Sac County, thinking like, and kind of like my life as I knew it at that point was kind of over. Yeah. Opening up to a new life completely. But that feeling of just hopelessness, despair, there is nothing I can do to be even considered a decent human being by myself or society standards, like just the lowest of the low feeling, and not being able to change that. I just want to remind everyone that feelings are never constant. They will always change. Everything is subject to change. Nothing is going to stay the same. So recognizing and feeling, hey, this is what I'm feeling right now, and it's not awesome. Like you said, just by acknowledging it and recognizing it and accepting it
Yeah. Well,
helps move through it.
and sometimes when we can be stuck in a unpleasant vibration, or stuck in a bad feeling, bad emotion, because we haven't allowed ourselves to fully experience that emotion.
Right.
Especially with sadness, with grief, with anger also.
Mhm.
If when we keep finding ourselves being sucked back into sadness, back into anger, that's our heart, our body, telling us that there's some kind of emotion here that needs to be felt fully. And
Mhm.
so, and some feeling those negative emotions can be unpleasant, but sometimes that means you really need to allow ourselves to really feel a lot of sadness, really allow ourselves to sob uncontrollably, become a snotty, messy mess,
Yeah.
or go somewhere and scream at a pillow. Or
Yeah.
sometimes, in order to change out of a quote unquote negative emotion, you have to fully give yourself to that emotion and allow it to
Absolutely.
express through your body before we can change to something else. And that's something
Absolutely.
we're not we're conditioned not to, that it's bad to feel
Right.
quote unquote negative emotion.
Like boys don't cry.
Right.
Suck up your
And
tears.
women aren't supposed to
Yeah.
get mad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but so
But how much
sometimes,
rage and sadness or and
right.
grief are you just holding in the pit of
Yeah.
your being
And
that needs to come out?
right.
It needs to move. Energy is meant to move, and those feelings are energy, just as we are energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Constantly changing, constantly fluctuating. Yeah.
Right. And
And when I think of it, like we're all these different, beautiful, magical vibrations, all different colors, all over the spectrum. And by leaning in to the authenticity that is you, it's just like harmonizing with all of the beautiful magical
yeah.
kaleidoscope that is the universe. and just letting it flow, letting it be,
Exactly.
instead of beating ourselves up for
expecting us to be one certain way that we've been conditioned by the way that we believe we're supposed to be.
Yeah. Erase all that bullshit. Be whatever you want to be. Whatever feels good to you is perfect.
Let it all go. Let your freak flag fly.
Do it. Yes. Yes. We need more of that in the world. Flying the freak flag. Yes. And yeah, just being as true to yourself as you can possibly be in an effort to find the other people in this universe that will get it. Like, we all need community. We all need people, but forcing ourselves to be in community or with people that don't understand us, or where we feel like we have to bend or alter ourselves, that's not doing anybody a service. So yeah, I'm hoping that this episode gives some encouragement for people just to listen to your heart and honor it. Fucking honor your heart.
Whatever it's saying.
Yeah, whatever it's saying. There are no wrong answers. Absolutely not.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is a test that no one can fail.
Yeah, there's no right, there's no wrong.
There's not. That's all just ideas that were placed on us by the system.
Mm-hmm.
Right, wrong, and different. We're all fucking perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wherever we are right now in this moment, perfect.
Whatever shit show's going on inside our minds right now, that's exactly what it needs to be for us to learn from it.
Exactly. It's fucking perfect. All of it. I love it. Thank you so much for joining me today. You're rad. Cool.
Happy to be here.
I am going to remember this time and take us out with this freaking rad track by MC Yogi, Be the Change. And this is off of the Elephant Power album. Kind of said before. Love it. Thanks, y'all, for tuning in, and looking forward to check in with y'all again next week.
Dedicated to all spiritual activists, true seekers, and peaceful warriors worldwide.
I regard myself as a soldier, though a soldier of peace.
Once upon a time, not long ago, there was a boy who would grow and become a great soul. He lived in India, and his name was Gandhi. He believed in human rights, and he fought for equality. He felt so strongly that he trained himself, cause he realized first he'd have to change himself. He changed his clothes and decided to walk. Some days he practiced silence and refused to talk. When he was young, he studied to be a lawyer, and then he became a great spiritual warrior. He read from the scriptures of every religion, came to the realization that we're all God's children. Because he understood that we're all equal, he became a spokesman for the people, a karma yogi devoted to service, to spread truth and peace was his purpose. You gotta be the change that you wanna see in the world. Be the change, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world, just like Gandhi. Gandhi dedicated his life to the cause, even when it meant breaking unjust laws. He often faced prison and incarceration, but that only strengthened his determination. He said he would make every sacrifice, but that he would never kill or take a life. He used his heart instead of his fist, and he taught non-violence as the way to resist. A peaceful soldier who used his mind to fight for the rights of humankind, but not just people, animals too. In his basic teaching, God is truth. He joined Muslims, Sikhs, and Hindus, Christians, Buddhists, Jains, and Jews. All the many paths that lead into the light that shines bright inside of me and you. You gotta be the change that you wanna see in the world. Be the change, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world. Be the change, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world, just like Gandhi. Gandhi taught an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind, and it takes more strength and faith to be kind. With that in mind, Gandhi took a stand against the foreign occupation of his land. When things got violent, Gandhi would fast, not eating for days until the riots would pass. But the biggest event that made the British halt is when Gandhi G decided to harvest all. The British Empire installed a salt tax, and stealing salt was an unlawful act. So Gandhi and his peeps took to the streets, 10,000 deep, they marched to the beach. But when they arrived, they were beaten with clubs, but they didn't fight back, instead they chose love. The foreign military realized they were wrong and eventually decided to go back home. You see, Gandhi G was a very great leader, but before all that, he was shy and meager. As a young child, he was just like you and me before he became Mahatma Gandhi. The word Mahatma, it means great soul, and it's inside of us just waiting to unfold. If you follow your heart and act real bold, next time it'll be your story that's told. You gotta be the change that you wanna see in the world. Be the change, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world. Be the change, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world. Be the change, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world. Be the change, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world, just like Gandhi.
I regard myself as a soldier, though a soldier of peace.